Hello there, Internet people. It's your good buddy Rue. And I told you that I'd be back quickly. I know I said I'd probably be back like the next day, but if you've watched more than two of these, you knew that wasn't going to happen. It's one of my quicker turnarounds, so I'm going to totally count it as a win. This is the second part of my two-parter Too Many Comics series. The last one was about single issues and was also just praising the fact that AVX was over. This one is just simply all trades and... yeah, too many trades. I've already told you guys that I'm not even going to buy any new ones until everything that's up on those top shelves has been read. So, of course, instead of buying new ones, I go to the library and I get new ones, and then that wastes time. Because then I'm still not reading those. So let's get started. Pinocchio, Vampire Slayer, Volume 3 of Wood and Blood, Parts 1 and 2. I've praised this series many times in the past. I've interviewed the creators Dusty Higgins and Van Jensen twice. Throughout basically the 3 years it's for these to come out, my opinion hasn't changed. These are just awesome books. They're amazing. Pinocchio the Vampire Slayer is exactly what people say they mean when they say all ages books. It's smart, it's funny, it doesn't talk down to the reader no matter how old they are, and it provides this mystery and story that it's interesting and you want to see how it ends. At least I'm over 30, and this kept me interested and I couldn't wait for the next volume each time. I've also mentioned before that between volumes 1 and 2, the art and the writing got much better, cleaner, and more coherent. The improvement between 2 and 3 is also... striking. I'm not saying that it was bad at the beginning, but it's really nice when you see creators that you want to succeed improve with their craft, and both of them have throughout the publishing of this whole thing. Wood and Blood is volume 3 of the trilogy, so it ends here, and they split it up between two books. I'm assuming because the tale they wanted to tell was too long, and this would be twice the size of the other 2 volumes. Where they divided it up makes sense that it would be parts 1 and 2, but it would not have worked as a 4th volume. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it works in my head, and it's hard to explain. Part 1 starts directly after the shock ending of Volume 2, The Great Puppet Theater, and it doesn't really slow down except for a little bit in the first book here until the end. If I haven't told you before, Pinocchio the Vampire Slayer is based off the original book by Carlo Caldi, you know me in pronunciations, instead of the Disney movie. And so this is darker. It has characters that you might not know if you've only seen the Disney movie, but volumes 1 and 2 both provide great introductions to the book and tells you everything you need to know. Excuse me right quick. Then the world makes sense. Basically, and they do a great job of making this world where a puppet who lies and his nose grows can obviously then break the nose off and stake vampires. The vampires make sense. They're older legends than what we've been used to since Buffy. And I can't recommend these books enough. I really can't. My only problem is it didn't end the way I wanted it to. And usually that's a good thing. Why the Last Man, Ex Machina, well, those are 2 Vaughn books, and there's a reason for that. But most things that don't end the way I want them to have better endings. I'm not sure this is the case. I'm not sure that it's a good ending, it's a solid ending, it's an ending. It's maybe not the book I would want in an all ages book, but still, seriously get these, read them to your kids, let your kids read them. They're worth it. Classic G.I. Joe Volume 15. This here's the end of the G.I. Joe collection run over here. By Larry Hama, being put out by IDW. I'm so glad these were collected. The last 3 volumes, 12, 13, 14, the story wasn't as good and the art was just god-awful. And even Volume 15, it's a step up from those 3 volumes. Like they finally came to their uptick again, but it's not near the caliber of the first 10. And all the art suffers from 90s art. Bulky, actiony, and doesn't really make any sense. All that being said, Volume 15 has issue number 155, the final issue of this run, A Letter from Snake Eyes. And this might be one of my favorite final issues ever. I'm not overly yeehaw patriotic, but even I usually find all those thank you military TV shows, comics, books. I find them rather lame. They feel forced, and they rarely feel as if the people putting them on actually mean what they say. A Letter from Snake Eyes is the most heartfelt love letters to the military I've ever, in any format, in any genre. And even for someone like me who isn't again gung ho about the whole thing, um, it felt genuine and it felt real. And Larry Hamo just wrote a fantastic story, 155 issues of a fantastic run. And if you're reading G.I. Joe: Real American Hero, it follows directly from this. It's a continuation in IDW, and you should be reading that. That's usually one of my top 3 favorite books every month. The G.I. Joe classic series, I've enjoyed every moment of it and loved most of them. Justice League Volume 1 Origin. This is the first volume of the new DC, New 52, whatever you want to call it. And even in old DC, my exposure was pretty much Green Lantern, Batman, and Flash. I read the events. I don't care about the Justice League. I read a couple of trades, and I never saw the appeal. I have no emotional attachment to that Justice League, and that might be why I enjoyed this. In my opinion, the relaunch was a relaunch for new readers, and that's fine. And since it's a relaunch, I don't have to. I'm not comparing previous volumes to previous volumes because that's not what it's there for. So I enjoyed this, and I've enjoyed the new 52 books I've read. I think that I actually sat down and chose them rather than some people just didn't want to like them, so they read them all, because that makes any sense. For an origin book this day and age of decompression, I felt this was really fast-paced, very few wasted spaces. Even when they were doing the origins, so everybody knew who everybody was, it wasn't forced. It didn't feel forced, and it made sense in the context of the story, but it wasn't too in-depth because most people reading this probably know the origins already. I've heard that Volume 2, like from issue 7 on, this falls down hard, but I genuinely enjoyed Volume 1, and so I'm definitely going to give 2 a look at. I'm glad the library had this, because I'm not going to pay hardcover prices for it, but I'm kind of sad I didn't wait for trade. Penguin, Pain and Prejudice. The blurb on the back here from IGN states that this might be the Penguin's Killing Joke. And that it might actually be true. Yes, I've said earlier that I've read a lot of Bat books, but the Penguin was always one of those side villains that eventually we'd get to one I cared about, and so I didn't dislike him. I just didn't care. So I never thought I'd buy a trade that's a story by him, but just the way it looked. I'm not feeling well. I have a dry mouth right now. The way it looked, the art, and just reviews on the internet, because you should listen to reviews on the internet and keep listening to them and follow them on a regular basis. Just kept making this very appealing, and I decided that I just had to go buy it. For 5 issues, this took me longer than most trades that collect 6, 7, or even 8 issues. The art, the story, it was intriguing, it was entertaining. They were a perfect combination that created this Gotham, this world where you're rooting for the Penguin, the villain, but not because you agree or feel for him, or even, like, it's not like a Butch Cassidy situation where, like, the villain is the protagonist. He's very much the antagonist here. And the reason you want him to win is because, screw those pretty people and Batman too. Greg Horwitz and Seisman Kardowski, I don't know how to say that. Should be proud of what they achieved. I'm not the biggest fan of the ending. Again, it takes the book from an A+ to an A. I felt that it wasn't any fun, the ending was. But the backup story here by Jason Aaron, DC's kicking out of the park with backup stories. And this is no exception. And I don't know if that was originally published somewhere else or what, but I'm so glad I got a chance to read that. So Penguin, Pain and Prejudice, yes. Batman Arkham Asylum. I'm late to the party on this. A good, apparently, 23 years late to the party on this, and I really wish I hadn't wasted my time. This is blasphemy from what I've been able to gather, but I don't get the hype on this. The story is average, and the art sometimes makes it very difficult to read the dialogue. I love Dave McKean. Seriously, the art here saves this book for me. But like right here, it was sometimes difficult to understand what the joke was saying because of the way the art was. But even if I could, the story, maybe it's because I've read so many other comics that have been inspired by this, and I should have read it 23 years ago, and I would have loved it. It's not the case. Usually, sometimes I can see nostalgia and the influence it has. Anybody want a copy of Batman Arkham Asylum? Because I doubt I'm ever going to read this again. Nightmare World, Volumes 1, 2, and 3. These are collections of a long-running free webcomic. I like those comics, but I've known Dirk Manning, the writer and creator of this, for quite a few years through different websites, and I got a chance to meet him in Cincinnati, so I bought these off of him, and I'm almost running out of time. So it's a book about the planning of and the apocalypse and what happens afterwards. It's not told in the right order, and it's awesome. So much different art. 8-page stories through 3 volumes. It scared me, and it should scare you. It's not gory. It's not all about the blood, and Dirk Manning's a really cool guy. Saga Volume 1. Why the hell didn't any of you make me read this before now? This is so far the best new book of 2002, and I keep forgetting how great Brian K. Vaughan is. From Runways and Why the Last Man and Ex Machina, I should not have just not gotten this in single issues. But skip, don't read reviews of this. Don't wait. Just go buy it. It's a great comic. And Sleeper and Incognito. Both of these are being reviewed at the same time because why? You people who call yourself my internet friends, or at least I think of you as my internet friends because I really don't have a lot of friends, let me wait this long before just hitting me over the head with a brick and saying, read Sleeper and Incognito. Meanies. Both of them are noir versions of superhero archetypes. Sleeper is more about spies and terrorists and good guys, bad guys, and both. It really is a fantastic read. It is what if James Bond actually had superpowers, was more cynical, and was just awesome. Sleeper and I'd recommend from Criminal to Sleep, then Incognito and Fatale. Anytime these guys get together, they write something great. And as of now that I've read them all, Fatale is the weakest. Incognito is basically a take on superhero villainy, organized like the mob, in which there's a witness protection type situation, and that's a really cool just way to start this story. Whereas Sleeper actually had a good solid ending, and although it could continue for somehow in the future, I'd be perfectly okay, and most people should, if it never continued. Incognito, there's plenty of room to go, and I want more, and you need to give me more Brubaker and Phillips, and I want and give me more Incognito. I'll double dip. I'll get the floppies, and then I'll get the hardbacks, and so you have 2 sales there for me. I think you should do this for your friend Rue. So I'm actually kind of impressed that I kept this under 15 minutes. RUviews is on Facebook, The Outhouse, and YouTube. I'm on the Twitters at I am Guru, and it's not blocked at work, so that's really cool. Going back to Saga right quick, the reason I didn't waste that much time on it was I actually recently wrote up my review of this, and that's available at the Outhouse, along with my interviews with Dave Higgins and Van Jensing. Oops, sorry about that. I'm just so impressed that this is under 15 minutes still. So I'll see you again sometime. Till then. Oh, I keep talking about the library, and I just wanted to point out that this is my stack right now of unread books from the library. Over here, the 2 Sleeper volumes and Justice League also came from the library. If you are in a major metropolitan area, or if you have a great library network, see what they have. We all know basically anymore how to steal the comics. But if you have the opportunity to read them for free legally, it's worth maybe a week or 2 wait. See you guys again. Till then, later, peeps.